everyone, and welcome to my craft room. My name's Julianne Richards and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in southern Tasmania. Thanks for joining me today. I'm just catching up with my iPad, which usually takes a couple of seconds. Here we go. Just going to check my volume. That seems good as well. Okay, thanks for joining me. I'm being a bit brave today and just crafting straight on my beautiful table surface that my husband made for me. I usually have grid paper there, but I'm not doing that today. I'm trying to look a bit more professional with my, sexy wooden top. So if I disappear off the end, the trouble is that I use my grid paper to sort of guide me where I've got to be. So if I sort of stray a little bit off the side, just let me know and I'll try and come back into the middle. I've got a couple of people on already. Great to see. Kathy, thanks for joining me, and Renee, lovely to see both of you. I made this card today for a couple of reasons. Firstly, for a dear friend who just lost her mum, which was really very sad, although she'd been sick for a very long time. So I made this card for her. I don't tend to keep sympathy cards on hand, and I don't know whether it's just me, but it seems to having a stock of sympathy cards seems to be tempting fate, so I don't tend to have them. So when I need one, I have to make one in a hurry. And I sort of think as well that losing a loved one is a very personal thing, and I sort of like to, so if I can, sort of make the card to suit the person rather than whipping one out that I happen to have made earlier. So anyway, that's my little superstition. I probably don't want to tempt fate by having lots of sympathy cards around, especially at the moment, given if you guys realise what I'm going through with my dad at the moment, we don't want to tempt fate if we can avoid it at the moment. Anyway, I do have to say up front that this card was inspired by the amazing Gail Ellis, who uses lovely soft colours. She did this card in a class about 12 months ago. So what I've actually done is mix it up a little bit, used current products, because obviously 12 months ago she was using some products that have since retired. So I'm using current products at the moment, current colours, and I've just sort of given it a bit of a change for my way of doing things. But anyway, as soon as I saw this one, I thought of my dear friend Evelyn, and so this is the one I'm going to be giving her. I'm not going to make another sympathy card with you today, though I'm going to use the same sort of pattern. I'm actually just going to make the next one as a birthday card, because we always need birthday cards, and basically just make it as a birthday card, and but use the same sort of stamps and dies and everything like that. So anyway, let's get started. I'm going to leave that there because that shows me that that's the edge of how far I can go. And if I bring my glasses, where's my glasses? I'll bring my glasses in. That'll tell me how far I can go on the other side. Where are they? Somewhere about there. Oh, there. That's my glasses. So there you go. This is the area in which I am stamping. Okay, so it is actually a square card, a 5.5 inch square card. So I've got a piece of basic white thick cardstock that's 5.5 by 11, and I've scored it in the middle. So that's a 5.5 square card. And it's going to be a landscape card, so it's going to sit open like that. I've also got a piece of Pear Pizzazz, so it's going to be a Pear Pizzazz and Petal Pink card. This one, so Pear Pizzazz, and that is a 1/4 inch smaller than our card, so it's a square that's 5 1/4. And also I've got another piece of basic white, and this time this one is another 1/4 inch smaller, so this one is 5 1/4. No, 5.5, 5 1/4. This is 5 inches exactly square, and this time, just to be a little bit different for a birthday, I wanted something a little bit more striking. I've popped this one through the Old World paper embossing folder just to give it that sort of a bit more of a defined embossing sort of look here. So that's what I've done with that one. Don't know if it's going to be too much, but we'll see when it's all together. I'm sure it's going to be beautiful. This embossing folder is actually retiring when the current catalogue retires in early early May. So if you like this one and you've been meaning to get it, grab it before it goes. Okay, so I've got those three things there. The rest of the card uses a various stamp sets, or two stamp sets to be honest. Peaceful Moments for the sentiment, and Painted Poppies for the flowers. This one, they both continue on in the next catalogue, so I think it's probably the third year we've had these stamp sets, so I'm sort of really happy because they are among my favourites and they are really beautiful. So it's nice to be able to use them for another 12 months at least. I might actually do a class by mail, have a look around for some brand new ideas with these, and do a class by mail later in the year, maybe including this one. Okay, so I'm using the Painted Poppies for our poppies, but I'm also using the dies. I'm using various dies. Most of the dies are from the, now I've got to remember, the Painted Labels dies, which are the ones that go with the Painted Poppies. So we've got the little sentiment box that I'm using, that little edge one there, and the poppies themselves. So that goes with, that Painted Labels goes with the Painted Poppies. And I'll also use another couple which I'll point out to you in a second. So we might as well get this started. I might pop all this together just so I don't lose them, because you guys know what I'm like sometimes. I tend to lose things even though they're right in front of me. So I took my dad into the city today, into the hospital. He had his an all body CAT scan just to see whether the cancer's gone into other parts of his body. So I think we're pretty positive. We're pretty hopeful that hasn't happened, because it's all it's all clear in the local area of the cancer. So we're hoping that it hasn't spread far or wide as well. So he had a trip to the hospital. So we'll wait for the results of those. But yeah, as I say, we're very positive, trying to keep really positive with it. So I'm going to pop that this panel of the embossed one down as well. So I'm going to use double-sided tape on the back, just because it is such a deeply embossed embossing panel, just really heavy embossing. So I'm going to use the double-sided tape. I just feel that gives me a better stick than glue for this particular in this particular situation. So just like that. Let's grab those off, and then I can just put this aside for a second while we look at our beautiful poppies. Yeah. So I'm going to pop that just there, and as I said before, we've got a nice 1/4 inch boundary all the way. Oh well, it'll be 1/8 of an inch once you halve it, but it's 1/4 of an inch, so it's a nice big boundary behind there. So we'll see how that goes. I quite like that the way it is. I think it's quite an effective embossing folder. Okay, so we'll pop that aside for a sec. So what I'm going to do now is stamp our poppies. So I need 2 poppies for this one. I'm going to use the large one. Oh, I've already put them. So I'm going to use the large one and the small one from the Painted Poppies set, and I'm going to actually stamp them in Petal Pink. So there's nothing sort of, it's all soft and quite light. So there's nothing sort of heavy or black in them. So I'm just going to do them both. Hopefully you can see that with the light. Do them both in Petal Pink. Clean that off in a minute. Now I think in Gail's original design for this card, she actually then grabbed her blends and she coloured these poppies in. I thought I'd be a little bit different, and I'm actually using my blending brush with my Petal Pink, and I'm going to just give them a bit of a blend with the colours. So I'm just putting a bit of ink on my blending brush. I'm just going to start, because obviously I want the heavier colour in the middle, so I'm going to start in the middle and sort of work myself out like a spiral. And I'm not going to be really too exact about this because it's just really going to give a blush of colour. And the stamped image, what we stamped with the stamps, with the stamps themselves, will remain darker, or it should. Might have gone a bit heavy on that one. So there we are. So as I say, you could do that with your brushes. You could do that with your blends, or you could use the infill stamp from the actual stamp set itself. It doesn't really matter, but I really love the blending brushes, and I tend to bring them out whenever I can. Okay, so I will now die cut those, or you could fussy cut them. They're not overly complicated designs, but I would just die cut those out and have them ready for our card. And here I have a couple that I did earlier. Forgive my grammar. There we go. So a couple that I've already brushed or blended and die cut out. So what else I've got here from the same die set, the Painted Labels die set, I have this big sentiment box here, which has got a really nice beveled edge. It's quite classic, really. You can see that in the light. It's got a lovely bevel around the edge. It's quite good. Plus I have from the same die set this really cute little circular filigreed, I suppose, or sort of fancy sentiment box. Plus this really nice little lacy trim. So this really little lacy, just from the same die set as well. It's a really lovely die set. Just this has this little edging piece as well. So what I'm going to do with that is bring in the poppies, the line of poppies from the Painted Poppy set. So as I say, it's poppies everywhere with this one. And I'm going to get my petal pink again, and I'm going to pop on just really lightly on the back of this big sentiment box here, just a line of poppies. Excuse me while I bring it a little bit closer. I can't quite see past my microphone. I'm going to bring that little line of poppies just there. Okay, so that's all right. That's fine. Okay, so that's just giving us a nice little background, a nice little hint on our sentiment box. Then what I'm going to do is bring in our little fancy edge, and just with some glue I'm going to pop that just along the bottom edge of our sentiment box. Excuse me, I've got an itchy nose. Just glue that on there. And that's sort of, I think the main idea of having that is there just to tidy up the possibly sort of slightly messy ends of our poppies there, just to sort of cover that over. I might need a wipe. Got a bit too much glue on the end there. Okay, there we are. Okay, so we've got that really little sweet sort of setup happening there. What I'm going to do then with this one, excuse the top of my head when I came in there, just layering it up with just lots of different layers and patterns and shapes. I'm just going to pop this little circular one just up and behind the sentiment box, just to the left hand side, just like that. And I think my youngest is back from uni. I hear footsteps. There we go. So just pop that one there, and you might think that looks a bit strange at the moment, but believe me, it will look nice when we add it to the card. Well, I hope so. It did before. So I might actually stamp this one now, and as I say, I'm not going to make this a sympathy card. I'm going to make it a birthday card. As I say, I don't want to tempt fate by having sympathy cards around. That's very, 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 what's the word? Superstitious, isn't it? Okay, so I'm just going to pop a happy birthday, and I'm going to bring it a bit closer again so I get in the right spot, just slightly to the right hand side and as central as I can on there, just like that. So that's quite nice. And this is slightly different to Gail's original. She had a black embossed sentiment, but I'm just going to pop that happy birthday there just over our little poppies there. Okay, so now what we can do is bring everything in and start popping it together. So I'll make sure I've got it opening the right way. So we're going to pop our sentiment box over sort of slightly above the middle over to the right, and then we're going to have our leaves and sprays and poppies and things here on the left hand side. I'll get my positioning right. I'm just going to pop everything in place first just to show you what effect we're after. So I'm going to bring our two beautiful poppies in on the left hand side, just like that. Okay, and then I've got various bits and bobs of die cuts, and I'll just show you what I've got. And as I say, I'm using current products, because in Gail's she used some things that are no longer for sale. So we've got this really lovely little spray of sort of berries. Now this one's I've used this from the Magnolia, no, not the Magnolia, not the Magnolia, the Christmas one. Where is it? It's gone missing. The poinsettia dies. So this one here, this little spray of berries or buds or whatever you want to call it, is actually from the poinsettia dies. So that was a Christmas one, but that's going to be continuing in the next catalogue as well, which is really great. There's some lovely surprises when I opened my copy of the catalogue. So we've got some of the favourites, including this one, but including the poinsettias, that will be continuing on next year. So that's really nice to know. So it's nice to know I've invested in them and I can keep using them. These little leaves here are actually from the painted poppies, or the poppy painted labels. So that's a little leaf there, and I'm going to stamp that tone on tone in the Pear Pizzazz in a second. Then I've got the little centres that I'm going to use in the poppies, these little black ones here, and they are from the matching dies that go with the Peaceful Moments. So that's the Poppy Moments. Getting all a bit confusing here, but it's poppies nonetheless. Poppies. And these leaves here, these sort of skeleton-like leaves here, these are actually from the Magnolia dies. So that was a really popular one in the current catalogue, these Magnolia dies, and they are actually retiring. So if you have always wanted the Magnolia dies, I think they are actually on special at the moment, on sale, but they are retiring when the current catalogue ends in early May. So go on and grab those if you wanted them. Okay, so we've got all of that, and we're going to create our little layered scene with that. I'm going to grab my Pear Pizzazz and just stamp tone on tone those two little leaves. Probably would have been easier to stamp them first and then die cut them, but I was die cutting with the Pear Pizzazz, so I thought I'd do it all at once. And they're not too hard to line up. Hopefully, she says, not making a fool of herself. So there's one. It wasn't overly great. And another. That one's a bit better. Okay, so we've just got the veins of the leaves on there. Just there. Hopefully you can see that okay. So let's get assembling. What I'm going to do first of all is pop some glue on the back of our little sentiment, because it's going to be at the bottom of this pile. And as I say, slightly above centre and over to the right hand side, and we'll pop that there. There we are. Yep, that's straight. It's a bit hard when I'm on camera because I can't quite look at things straight and they get away from me. Yeah, no, that's okay. Then with our little poppies, I'm going to actually pop their centres in. So as I say, these little centres are from the other poppy set. I'll just pop those in there just to give it a little bit of interest. And this one here is the same die cut as the full, but I've actually just cut it in half because this little poppy is sort of in profile, so it's only really half showing. So I've just given it a little half inside, just poking out. Just like that, just line that up. Okay, so it looks like the other half of it's tucked in behind where we can't quite see. Just like that. Okay. Alright, so that's our 2 poppies. I'm going to actually glue this one in place, this little half one, and I'm going to put the other one on a dimensional just to give it a bit of height and give them a little bit of a curl too, just not too much because they are sort of 2-dimensional images, but if you just give them a little bit of a curl, they just look a tiny bit more natural. Just get that in the right place. I want him there, and just tucked up under there. That'll do there. Here we are. And as I say, I'm going to pop this little guy up on a dimensional. Just like that. Okay. Looks a little plain at the moment, but all these other little bits and bobs really add to it. So I'm going to pop our leaves in. Now these are our little leaves that we've stamped with the Pear Pizzazz. I'll make sure I put them in the same. I'm going to pop him, just sneaking his ends up there. So one in there and one over here. Okay, I'm going to bring in these like little skeleton leaves here and bring them around. I think they just add a sort of extra dimension to it. You can sort of see through them, so they look really nice. I hope there's something in the new catalogue that gives us the same effect. I haven't actually had a proper look yet. Hopefully there's something. We can always whip out our old stamp sets, can't we? Just because they're retired doesn't mean we can't use them. And then I'll bring another one in here. Bring that one in here like that. That's starting to come together now, isn't it? I often say, you know, something looks really sort of quite plain until you start bringing in the leaves and the green. I don't know, the green to me, because I love green, so it tends to lift the design once you bring the leaves in. A bit too much glue on that one. There we are. So we're sort of definitely building up something that's a little bit more interesting there than just the flowers. Then the last one of these little leaves I'm going to bring in down here. Okay, there we are. Okay, Kay's got a phone call. That's fine, Kay, I'm going to be here. Always ready for you in replay. Okay, so now I'm going to bring in, I've got these little sprays, these little berries or buds, whatever you'd like to call them, and they're in petal pink as well. So I'm just going to pop those up and under also. This one's going to be too long, so I'm just going to nip his little end off. Use that somewhere else on the design. Just a little bit of glue on the back. And hopefully it will fit up under there. It's not glued down too hard yet. Here we are. There we are. And then I'll pop another one. Hopefully he fits in okay. Just up here. Yep. Nip his little end just a tiny bit as well, just so it's goes in there just right. There we are. Now the white ones are really nice. It's sort of like they they hide under there, but they add such a sort of they add to the design so nicely. I actually probably should have put those in first because I actually want them underneath. Anyway. That one there. Too much glue again, Julianne. And then the last one, I'm just going to pop just over here, just for a bit of design, bit of interest over on the other side, just like that. And I hope that's not too far down as well. No, that's good. Okay. Now I'm sure there's people out there that can visualise the design before they even start, and they can sort of put all these background bits in, you know, first, but I don't see that far ahead, unfortunately. So I have to sort of pop things in after I know what they're looking like. So I just want to use these extra little bits here. I might pop that in, just bring a little tiny bit of pink in there. Maybe. Yeah. There's enough glue in there to make it happen without adding any more, I think. There you go. And maybe a little bit of white up here. There. Okay, so what do we think of that? That's quite pretty, isn't it? And I do like the old world paper design there. It just adds a little bit more, excuse me, a little bit more interest. So that's most of that one done. I might bring in some bling, because we always need some bling, just to lift it a little bit more. And I'm just going to pop some of the little rhinestones just around the place. So I might use 5. Just in the little hideaway parts of the pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, one more. Oh. Okay, sorry I have moved down a little bit, I just apologise for that. So there we are, that's our birthday card based on the painted poppies, which I'm glad to say we've got to in our catalogue for another whole year. So as I say, I'm going to bring this one out. It always has been my favourite. Sort of it gets taken over by new products when they come, but I will whip this one out for a few more videos during the time, because it really is one of my favourites. And as I say, may even do a little class. I haven't done a class with this one for probably over 18 months. So yeah, watch out, we might do a class with this one as well. Okay, so there's our 2 cards. We've got our Sympathy one that I've made for my beautiful friend on the right hand side there, and this one that's probably a little bit more distinctive with the old paper embossing folder for a special birthday. So I'll pop that one away for a special birthday. Have to make sure I don't give it to the same person. She might think I'm telling her something. But I hope you enjoyed that one. I hope you bring out your painted poppy stamp set if you've got it at home, and give it a go. Or if you haven't got it, please, it's not too late. You can pop in and grab it from my website if you'd like to start doing this one and start using it on these beautiful designs. But anyway, it's really versatile, as I say. This one, the main poppy one, doesn't actually have sentiments, but as I say, if you get the peaceful moments with it, the sentiments go perfectly, and the fonts match quite nicely. But anyway, that's my video for today. Thanks for joining me, everyone. The replay will be here, obviously, on my page, and I'll load it up to my YouTube channel as well. So thanks very much. If you would like to get on my mailing list for the new catalogue, please drop me a line on my Facebook page. And if you haven't got an active demonstrator and you'd like to talk about any of these products, please, I'm always available to chat about my favourite hobby. Anyway, so thanks again, guys, and I will see you all later.